What's good? Welcome back to another edition of Dat Talk Podcast. I go by the name of Bacon. I got my co-host with me.
No more needs to be said, man. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's a tough day. It's one of those moments, because I've talked to people today, it's like, do you remember where you were this day last year? And I just remember being sitting in my room on my ottoman in front of the bed, and my homeboy Mel text the group chat, like Kobe died. And you know, like those 8 letters, that statement, I'm like, Kobe died. Like, that's impossible. You feel, knowing that it's possible, but that's impossible. Right. And so just like on Twitter, like on the internet, and like nothing's really coming up fast enough. It's just like it's just a plane crash and a helicopter crash. And then you give it a little bit of time, and then that confirmation. And like, yeah, man, that confirmation hurt. Like I remember calling my mom and letting her know, and she was in shock. She was doing something, she called me back. And then I remember my brother called me. And like when he called me, my brother Mike, when he called me, like it really hit me. We just both broke down on the phone. Yeah. It's just like, man, it's like, this ain't real. And then like him passing is one thing.
Right.
But to know that his daughter was with him. Yeah. Like that really hurt too, just because he was such an ambassador for the women's game. And my daughter Zimmery, you know, as she started becoming and starting to fall in love with basketball, she started really liking and paying attention to Gigi, you know, because they're not too far in age. So it was just like, you know, that was somebody that she kind of looked up to, and she was watching more. So, you know, It was just a lot.
Yeah, man. It's tough. It was tough. And for those who don't know, if you don't know, if you've been under the rock, you know, this is the year marks the year of the passing, the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant and his daughter. And also, I believe it was 6 or 7 other people that was on the helicopter with him.
Yeah.
That all passed away in a helicopter crash last year this time. And so, I like you said, Reason, it hit the world by storm. Like we all know, death is a part of life, right? But those sudden unspoken, or ones you're not prepared for, or ones that catch you off guard, seems to always hit you the hardest, right? It's the ones that, like, if somebody's sick and you know, all right, we don't know how much they got, but we're preparing for it mentally, emotionally, you know, and even when they go, it still hurts, but you at least are prepared for it. When that happened, I remember to the day I was streaming and I was playing 2K, and next thing you know, my boy Jordan came in and was like, yo, Day, you know Kobe died? I said, what? I said, man, stop playing, man. Stop playing with me, bro. Like, this, come on, stop playing, bro. And he was like, I'm dead serious, bro. Like, it's on the news and everything. I said, what? How he died? It was like in a helicopter crash. And at first we didn't know everybody was on board or anything like that. And then my mom called me. And then people in my chat was like, yeah, babe, Kobe, R.I.P. Kobe. And then we saw it on the news and it made it real. And then not only did it make it real, but seeing that other people was on the plane, and that his daughter, who was going to be a sensational basketball player, you know what I'm saying? She was going to get to the WNBA. She had all that it factor, you know what I'm saying, to go with him. And part of me, I was upset. And I don't really like to be mad at God, because God does what he does, and it's his own purpose. You know what I mean? It's his own reason behind it. But I was a little bit upset. I was like, it's one thing to take him, Lord, but you're going to take all those other kids and those families and his daughter with him? Like, that's tough. That hit a little bit different. You know what I mean? And I would never go against what God plan is. Because I really, truly, it sucks that it had to be like that, but I truly believe that Kobe and his daughter and all that horrific accident that happened drive the Lakers to get to the championship, and not only get to the championship, but win it all. I think that was that extra boost. Sometimes you need that extra initiative, and I hate that it had to be something like that to get you there. But that was brought that team closer than ever, sooner than I think it would have been if Kobe was still here. You know, they probably would have been going through the motions and, oh, we didn't get it this year, let's try to get it next year or whatever. But I think that they wanted to do it for the city of LA because they know how much he meant to the city. They know how much he meant to the game. They know what Kobe meant to the world. And we saw that. When he passed, it was like it hurt the whole world. He was an iconic figure to so many people. And it's crazy, and I always say this because I be whining. When he passed, right, everybody was like, oh, Kobe top 5, top 2, top 3, right? But when he was here, they was like, I don't know if Kobe in the top 10. He may be out of the top 10. He may be top 11. He may be top 9. He may be top 8. But I ain't putting him as no GOAT. He ain't. But soon he passed, he just skipped the beat and said, oh, no, Kobe's top 2. It's him and Mike, then LeBron. It's not. LeBron ain't even in the top 5. It's Mike, Kobe, and somebody else. And it just dawned on me, like, it's crazy how we act. You know what I mean? It's like we want that. I don't know why they do it, but everybody want that I can't think of the word that I really want to say, but it's not like recognition, but they want that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But be real. And I was 100. I kept it where I was when he was here and when he was gone. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad that they appreciated him after he wasn't here. You know what I mean? And it showed that. It showed a lot. A lot of people was like, yeah, Kobe was this, Kobe was that. Kobe, man, it was people wasn't even talking about Kobe like that. I'm just going to call it a spade.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear that because you're right. I mean, if anybody knows me, so Kobe was in the league for 20 years, so he came in 96. I've been a Kobe fan since 96. Since the Lakers was able to pull off that trade and get him for Vlade Divac, and just watching him in the preseason. And because at that time, like, I was a kid that only could watch Laker games. I couldn't watch nothing else. So, you know, being in LA, man, we had KCAL 9, you know, so you get all the road games, and then we had Fox Sports West. So you get all the home games. And then my great grandmother was a huge basketball fan. So she never really had cable. So that's the one thing I can look forward to when I was over there was being able to watch Laker games on KCAL 9 and listening to Chick Hearn and Stu Lance and just watching a young Kobe and just, you know, being a kid and not understanding like why Kobe not start? You feel me? Like why this coach ain't start? This is Kobe we talking about, you know, like, and you know, when Phil came and being home, sitting right in my living room and watch them win Game 6 of that first championship. Being home and watching them win Game 5 of the second. Being at home, watching them win Game 4 of the third. And I'm like, man, like, and then, you know, being at home and watching the failures. You feel me? And he just meant a lot to me, man. It was just, you know, part of the reason why I wore 24, especially playing basketball, was a part of him. I mean, it's my mom's birthday also, so it just like, you know, certain things work in mysterious ways. So it being my mom's birthday, it being his number, you know, it just made sense. And it just like, again, it's just one of those things that it's hard to really pinpoint my exact feelings. Because I can watch highlights now and be like, man, this is really not real. Like, it's been a whole year. And I still can't, like, grab it to where it's just real because, like you said, it was so unexpected because he's only 41. And so when we looking at him, we like, oh, man, Cole gonna be here for a while because he got to be here to see Gianna because we wanted, like, a lot of people might not want to admit it, but the world was waiting on Gianna. Like, she was 14, basically. So we was going to say 6-7 years, 21, when she probably made it to the WNBA. And like, that's what the world was waiting on, like this, because he wasn't, to me, he couldn't get a boy. I think it was too Kobe for him to get a boy.
Right.
So his daughter became the second coming of him, the female version. And like you said, man, to lose Gianna, I think it was just God saying they couldn't be separate. God just said, like, they couldn't be separate because we don't know the damage that would have did to her. Like, it's damaging for the older daughter and the younger kids. But you know how it is. Nobody has like a favorite kid, but certain kids build, like, this is what it is. Certain kids build relationships with their parents
Much strong.
that others don't. You feel me? It's not like the parent loves that one more or less or nothing like that, but it's just a certain bond relationship that you have with your kids at different levels. So
yeah, it's real.
But what is one of your favorite Kobe moments, games, one of those things that over his career that you be like, man, like,
for me, because I'm gonna be 100. I wasn't the biggest Kobe fan. I'm not gonna be that guy. I would always be transparent and be real. But one of the moments that always stood out to me was when they got over the hump. When they got over the hump and they beat the Trailblazers in that game, and that lob that he threw to Shaq, that move, because I remember my boy June and his mom was like diehard Laker fans. So when I went over there, I knew what I was getting. You know what I mean? And you know when you were a kid, it's like when I was young, I saw the Mike Jordan shot he made against the Jazz. I went straight outside on the Fisher Price. I went to go practice that shot. You know what I'm saying? I practiced that. And then when that happened, we had a basketball court outside, and my boy June and me and my boy June and my boy Najee was out there playing. They was like, hey, yo, we was playing 21. And they ended up trying to get because they was both Laker fans. So they did the little play. I was sticking June for some reason. I was trying to stop, and he threw a lob to Najee and got me dunked on. And I was like, come on, dog. Like, come on. And they was like, that's what you get, not being a Laker fan. You know what I'm saying? But that moment stood out to me because it was like that moment that they got over the hump, and you knew that they was about to be a dangerous team because they figured it out. Him and Shaq figured it out, and it just lined up. That whole season lined up all those historic shots, big plays, and all those things that happened throughout that season really helped catapult them into, greatness, winning 3 straight. Then, that whole thing popped off. And then when he won it without Shaq, because he wanted to show that he could, it wasn't just Shaq, because when they won 3 of them, he kind of got overlooked. It was like, Shaq got you those 3. Win another one without him. And then he won it with Gasol, where he was the guy, he was the number one. And that really stood out to me as well. And then there was this quote I saw on Instagram, crazy, just a few minutes ago. And it was when he played against Mike. He said, I had a teammate, he goes to me, whatever you do, don't look him in the eye. I don't think my teammate understood I'm that too. And that just showed, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, him and Mike dang near are the closest alike than ever. He shaped this game after Mike. It was like Mike and then, Kobe. He mastered Mike's game. He mastered it to a T. And he maybe even was a little bit better because his footwork was impeccable. Kobe footwork was something that people don't even talk about, but his footwork was crazy. They talk about his shots, but they don't talk about his basketball IQ, the way he can deceive and beat you with his footwork, even in the triple threat. And then he, that pull-up mid-range, man. We know that pull-up mid-range, the fade, the turnaround back down fade. Yo, he was the closest thing to Mike than anything ever.
Yeah, man. Everything that you said, those some of the highlights. I mean, I remember watching the game where he dropped 62 in the Mavericks in 3 quarters, and you like he can go for 100. Like in that game, when you watching it, it's like, oh, he can go for 100. I remember watching the 81 game, being and watching the Laker games when he was on that 40-point streak. Because I know James Harden kind of did it recently.
Yeah.
But, with social media now, it's like, you know how social media is. When Kobe did it, it really wasn't no social media. but the man was just in another world during that stretch. Like it was just something you just watch and you like, can anybody? I mean, he has numbers and statistics that is hard, that's gonna be touched. For a guy to score 50 in 4 straight games, 50. That's now, like we talking, you think about the NBA scorers in the league currently right now: James Harden, Kevin Durant, Steph, Bron, Dame. The list can go on and on and on. Guys that can get buckets, like straight, pure bucket getters. And ain't none of them has had consecutive games of 50.
Yeah.
Consecutive. Like,
in a tougher era too, where
like it's just the things that Kobe was able to accomplish. Because I'm not the one that decided to want to give his flowers when he passed.
Right.
He had his flowers for me for forever. You feel me? I've always said Kobe always be my number one just off the preference, and because I got to watch 20 years of him. So I got to fully immerse myself in being a Laker fan and being a Kobe fan. Like, I understood when we sucked, he was like, I was ready to be traded. I was one of the rare Laker fans that was happy for Kobe. Like, if he leave, I'm a big Kobe fan. And I'm still be a Laker fan because I'm like, man, if they trade him to Chicago, man, get Ben Gordon, Luol Deng, Joakim Noah, we gonna be all right. You feel me?
Right.
You just won't have Kobe.
Right.
But you feel me? Kobe is just my guy, man. And he'll forever be my guy to the point to where my son's middle name is Kobe. So, I grabbed my son this morning. They was doing a little tribute, and I grabbed him, and he can't see it and understand it, but I held him, and I was like, you feel me? Kobe's gone, but his legacy within this family is here forever. You feel me? Because you carry the middle name of the late great Kobe Bryant, and that's just kind of my stamp and my appreciation to him, because I decided to give my son name him his middle name Kobe.
Facts, which is dope. But before we move on to the next topic, we want to do a little moment of silence to those who lost their lives in that horrific helicopter crash last year. Our blessings and our condolences goes out to those families still, even though it's been a year. Man, what a day. But on to the next. Speaking of somebody being in their bag, this dude was real close to Kobe. That was like his brother. He was his big bro. That was the big bro or whatever. But the little bro, who's the big bro of the NBA right now, look, man, what he did yesterday in Cleveland. Kyrie came to Cleveland and he got dropped off by my man Sexton. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade.
Hey, whoa. Twice.
Yes, twice, right? LeBron James go in Cleveland and drops off everybody else. He 46, I believe 47 or 46.
46. I think he had 7 threes.
46 points. The man was hidden from the logo. Now this LeBron, y'all don't want this LeBron. If LeBron is like this consistently, don't nobody want to see this LeBron. Don't nobody. I mean, he hit a Kobe-like turnaround, fade away, close to damn near out of bounds, and it wasn't no rattle in. It was a strap. It was a stretch in the water. You know you throw a rock in the water, go doomp, straight doomp. He hit one of those and was like, yeah, man, y'all didn't have no chance tonight. And the game was close. But what he did, it was like AD did it in Chicago, and LeBron was like, you think you the only one. You think you the only one. Okay, AD. Let me show your young pup, but you ain't there yet. You getting there, but let me show you how it's done. I'm going to Cleveland. I'm getting some home cooking with my mama. I'm going to chill with mom, and I'm about to drop 46 out here on y'all young pups, man. LeBron James, like I told my boy, I said he's literally built different. To be in year 18 in the NBA and to do what he was doing Like, no disrespect to the Mikes, no disrespect to the Cobes. Like, what he's doing right now at 36 years old, 36, man. It's like, bro, like, when are we going to get this man his flowers, his due? Like, not a lot of people at 36 was doing this. They may was getting some buckets, but it looked rough at times. It was like, hey, man, it's about time. They may need to hang it up in maybe a year. Bro, they don't know when this man going to retire. That's how he plays.
Look, man, I honestly believe, and again, I don't want to, if Kobe don't experience them injuries, I think Kobe maintains this at this age. Just because like you mentioned with Kobe with his footwork. So because he was so skilled in his feet work, certain little things allow for grown men, because you know how it is with the old heads when you go to the park. They just got that old man game. So Kobe old man game would have kept him. But the injuries really hampered that. So I appreciate being able to watch a LeBron James at 36 deliver like this, because I wasn't born yet to see Kareem when he was getting older. You know, like, and then when Magic got old, Magic got big. And then when Jordan came back, he was on the Wizards. So even though Jordan was doing a lot of great things, he was on a sorry team. So we didn't even get a chance to really appreciate Jordan averaging 20. I think he averaged 21 and 22 in his last couple of years in the league. But it's like, damn, that's Jordan, though. But because the Wizards suck, we didn't get a chance to appreciate it.
Right.
The fact that the Lakers are relevant.
Right.
And the fact that LeBron is basically 1A to their relevancy.
Right.
It's just crazy, man. And watching what he was doing last night to the Cavaliers and being in that bag.
Right.
Oh my goodness. The man is shooting 40% from three. LeBron,
that's 44% in the bubble from three.
He's shooting 40%. Now, what I don't want is him to settle, right? Yeah. Like I don't want him to start thinking he's Steph and Dame and settling. Because we've talked about that, because you've mentioned it. Like, have it in your bag, but still be true to yourself.
Right, because if he can get that going, that opens up everything else.
Exactly. So hit a couple, but don't hit a couple and then all of a sudden you forget about the rest of your bag. Like, yeah. But last night was a full display of the bag. It was jump shots, it was dunks, it was steals, it was fadeaways. He hit a running hook.
Right. Oh yeah. He was doing so much stuff. I was like, I must be watching a video game, because this don't even look right.
He was like. These superstars and these once-in-a-lifetime players get into these zones, and then you know what, right? You know what happens. Ain't no fans in the stands, right? But the Cavaliers exec, Brian said at the end of the third, he missed a little shot. He looked over, he said the exec was a little bit too happy for him. So he said, oh, he hit him with that bad face. Yeah. And he proceeded to drop 21 in the fourth.
Yeah, bro. I like I said, I'm done with the LeBron. LeBron is up there. He's one of the GOATs to ever play this game. The man don't get his recognition. And one thing that people don't ever give him recognition for as well is that, though they always say, like you said even earlier, you know, if Kobe wouldn't have got hurt, if Mike wouldn't have did this, but LeBron only had one injury his whole career. He's literally built different. And that's what they got to get that man respect for. It's his built differentness, to be able to be durable in the longevities of your career. Him and Tom Brady, which we're going to get into on Thursday, it's like, all right, man. Everybody else is good. There are great players in the league, but when they get into that gear and what they display at their ages, it's like, damn, bro. Like, imagine if he was young, Steve, in his prime. Like, this dude is on his way out, but he's going off. You get what I'm saying? But I love to see it. Shout out to the Lakers. They're the number one team in the West. But let's talk about all the other teams. It's only really 6 teams. I give it 7. 7 teams right now that really is like, you like, all right, they can possibly compete for something. The other teams, it's like, I really don't know what's going on. And those 7 teams to me is the Lakers, the Clippers, and surprisingly, the Jazz on the West, right? Everybody else below them, it's like hit and miss. You don't know what you're going to get from Dallas. You don't know what you're going to get from Phoenix. You don't even know what you're going to get from Portland. You don't know what you're going to get from who? Denver as well. Like, you don't know what you're going to get. But those three teams, you know exactly what you're getting. Now, for the East, you got Philly, you got Milwaukee, you got the Celtics, and you got the Nets. Even though the Nets record is kind of doo-doo trash, they still have a chance because they got three of the most elite scorers to ever play this game on the same team. So how do you feel about what the NBA is displaying right now and what it look like moving forward? Who's really is it a good thing that you only got 7 teams out of 28 or you
30
out of 30 teams, or do you?
I mean, I just feel like I think COVID is hurting a lot of things too. I feel like we got to take that in consideration. And with COVID and the protocols and teams not having players and missing players, like the Lakers, knock on wood, has been one of the only teams not to experience no situations when it came to that. The Clippers are just now about to experience it because I see that PG and Kawhi are out for health and safety protocol reasons, and so is Pat Bev. So the Clippers about to have their little turbulence with the situation.
Yeah.
I think the Jazz have avoided it too. So when you look at it, right, the Lakers have avoided it, Clippers have avoided it, Jazz have avoided it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the other teams have not avoided something.
Right.
KP has been out for Dallas. He's working his way back, but they have some COVID issues.
Right.
Denver just now getting Michael Porter back, but they've experienced COVID issues.
Right.
Portland just lost Nurkic and McCollum. So that's not necessarily COVID issues. That's just injury issues. Memphis lost Morant for a little while. So with the West, even though, those three kind of separated themselves, I'm still interested in the West just because teams got to figure it out. So hopefully this second half of the season we get back. And in the East, it's a 4-team race, but Indiana can be a dark horse, especially if my man Caris LeVert can recover from his little kidney surgery. Because the craziest thing is him getting traded, he said it basically saved his life.
Yeah. Did they ever find out? I didn't even follow up with that. Did they find out what it was?
It's called a mass on the kidney. He just had surgery either yesterday or Saturday. He's recovering from surgery, but everything went well. Okay. And he's just out until, till his body is
related, right?
No. It's I heard it's just a mass. I didn't hear cancer or nothing. Okay. But, that's what happened during his physical. And, I think with Brogdon and him and the way Domantas Sabonis is playing, who's never really talked about, because Domantas Sabonis is a walking double-double. He's a 20 and 12 guy. Right now, Sabonis is the Zach Randolph of this era. He just gets buckets and he gets rebounds. And so Philly, I got Philly as the best team in the East.
Yeah, I got that.
I got Philly as the best team. Milwaukee, the Lakers really dismantled them boys. Like, it's just Milwaukee cannot win with Giannis being the point center.
Yeah.
You just not gonna beat teams doing that. And in addition to that, Giannis really avoiding the smoke of guarding people. Like, how is that KD is cooking and you don't say, hey, Budenholzer, I got it. There wasn't no Kyrie that night. It was just Harden and KD. KD out here cooking Middleton.
Yeah.
And you just standing there like, I'm going to just go ahead and guard DeAndre Jordan, man. I don't want no smoke. You the defensive player of the year and you running from the smoke? I can't respect it, bro. He ran from the smoke last year in the playoffs. Did he or did he not?
He was hurt. He did get hurt. He got hurt.
No, but he got hurt in game 2. In game 1, when Jimmy was out there serving them McBuckets, he didn't go say, I got Jimmy. You
stick Jimmy for the game winner.
Jimmy in game 1, they got blown out by 20 in game 1.
Game 2, he stuck Jimmy for the game winner though.
Yeah, but Jimmy already had built up confidence.
I mean, I get you, but again, it's matchups because if he guards KD, then who's Middleton is not going to guard DeAndre Jordan.
No, but they had Brook out there. He wasn't guarding. He was guarding Jeff Green. Yeah.
Well, they could have switched it. It could have, but again, I'm not gonna say if he dodged smoke or not. I'm not gonna say all that. I'm just gonna say he didn't cover him right there. Now, I mean, these games they matter, but they don't matter. They're not the ones that's gonna decide something. But you may not want to show your hand this soon. You know what I'm saying?
Look.
I just feel like Milwaukee ain't gonna win because of the system that they're running right now. The system.
The point center thing is trash.
They gotta stop letting Giannis come out here, shoot these pull-up threes. Like, I mean, I get it. I'd rather him take a set three than come up here and act like he that a point guard and pulling up like he Chris Paul, like he KD, like he James Harden, all that stuff. Like, I really feel like if he stays in the mid-range and in the post area, they can dominate. He's a 7-foot beast. But he has to learn. He has no post work. He has no footwork. And that's why everything is always an offensive foul, because he wants to bully you. You're not going to always be able to bully your people. You're not going to always be able to bully your way to the bucket. You got to be able to use your finesse. There's times where he goes to his okay post back, and he does well. Little shimmy, fade. He's damn near 7 foot. Bro, you're 10 feet away from the bucket. It ain't that hard. Maybe even to get a hook shot, a post hook or something. You ain't got to always and get a dunk or a layup. Just turn around, give him a little touch around. He needs to have some touch around the rim. Everything ain't always got to be a dunk here, dunk that. He's damn near, if he put his hands up, he could touch the rim. So I just feel like with the Bucks, the system and the way they continue to use Giannis is not going to be conducive to winning the championship. That's just what it is.
Ever.
Yeah.
I don't care. They cannot win playing like this. Shaq mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago. I think last week. He just said he needs to be inside. And I think Barkley disagreed with it, but Shaq is right. He needs to be inside. He needs to figure out a way, or it was the opposite. I think Barkley said he needs to work with Mikal and Garnett.
He needs to work in the post. But look, Giannis is not a post player. But he does need to develop some kind of inside offense. It can't always be dunks and slashing, and because that doesn't always work. They form the box and they make you shoot the shots they want you to shoot. You're open for a reason. Now, if you come in here and you get your free throws down pack and you can hit those mid-range free throws, then you can be a lethal weapon, because now they're like, well, we can't leave him open, because he can knock that down now. And if we do come up, he gonna go by us. So now we in trouble. Now he's a threat to us. But right now, they're like, man, let that boy shoot them threes. Hey, yeah, good for you. Good for you. Keep shooting them. Because you're gonna lose the game eventually.
You know how it is, man. When we in the gym running pickup with somebody that can't shoot, what we say? Oh, he with us.
Yeah.
That's all you. He hit a whole bunch of. The man airballed a standstill mid-range jump shot.
Big facts.
Bro, standstill. You are 7 feet. How are you airballing standstill mid-range jump shots?
You know what I think what it is with him is that when you're so strong, he don't have touch with the basketball.
Like a Shaq type situation?
Like, yeah. You're strong, and that ball, you don't have the touch to be able to shoot the ball as well. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he shoot threes, because he feel like he got to use more strength. Because you got to think about it. I don't think he's airballing because he's trying to gauge how much strength he needs to put on that bat. That bat, when you strong, like things that feel heavy when you're not strong feel super light. You be like, bro, what is this? It's like if you putting up 50 dumbbells. You're like, man, that's a little bit of challenge. You pick up a 5 dumbbell, you're like, what? I feel like a basketball is so light to him that he's trying to gauge how what's the touch? It's like, oh, let me not put too much on it, because if I do, it's too strong.
You making $40 million. Milwaukee ain't got time for you to still trying to figure out the touch.
I know, but I'm just saying. I just feel like that's why he shoot threes and dunks. That's what I'm saying. And the league is going that way as well too. Don't get me wrong, the league is going that way. But again, moving on to the next team, we got Boston. Boston with me, they do this every year. They play really good in the regular season, and they always are missing something in the playoffs. When you want Tatum and you want Jaylen Brown and you want those and Kemba to shine and do what they're supposed to do, they always drop the ball. They always do. The let Miami beat them showed me a lot about them as far as like their character. It showed me a lot about it. They can win you games. Tatum and Brown can win you games, but they can also lose you games the way they play as well too. And so they don't. I don't think they got it just yet. Like when you got it going, Tatum sometimes make the game hard for himself. He's doing all these dribbles, long step back threes. Man, no. If you get into the bucket, this is what I never understand. And this is people what they get mad at LeBron for. All they do is go to the bucket and try to bully his way. I'm not saying Tatum gonna bully somebody, but if you could get to the bucket every time, damn near every time, why are you settling for 3-point, tough 3-point? Let me hit you with a step back. Why are you settling for cute? Get greedy, get dirty, because that's what's going to win you those games. Getting greedy, getting dirty, and getting the bucket that you can get automatically. When you do that, you put pressure on the defense, and now they got to commit or help, or they're going to let you eat. But they always make the game hard for themselves. They make the game hard for themselves. And Jaylen Brown cannot dribble like that. So he's a slasher and a 3-and-D guy. Because when he get the ball, if he's going downhill, nobody in front of him, he's good. But soon somebody get in front of him, he stumbles with that ball. It's one of those guys when you like, hey, I got it. Oh, snap. I don't know what to do. They coming and stick me. I'm going to try to do something crafty with it. But that's not his game. His game is set threes, slashing, and playing defense. That's what he is. He's one of those slashing 3-and-D guys. He's a slasher, and he can play defense, and he can shoot some threes a little bit. But ball handling, it's not his strong suit. It's not his strong suit. When he starts dribbling the ball, that he gets in trouble. Kemba, he just can't stay healthy. That's Kemba issue. It's always been Kemba issue. He can't stay healthy.
Well, I feel like I feel like since he's been in Boston, he can't stay healthy because he was healthy in Charlotte. They just sucked.
No, but he had issues and he had injuries in Charlotte. It just when you ain't really paying attention to Charlotte, you don't really pay attention to the injuries. You know what I mean? He had injuries up there too. That's his Achilles heel. He'll play good, get injured, he'd be sitting out. Play good, get injured, then sit out. And it's the same things happening over here in Boston. That's Boston thing. And then let's go to the Nets. For me, the Nets don't play no defense. They're going to outscore you.
They play fence.
Yeah, they play whatever you want to call that. They play, we got 3 of the most elite scorers. Let's go outscore those dudes. And they have no inside presence. None. DeAndre Jordan, he's just not DeAndre Jordan of old from the Clippers. He's just not. He's just getting the bag. That's what he's doing. He getting the bag, he chilling, doing his thing. They got rid of their interior defense when they got rid of Allen. And that's going to be the Nets' issue is that who you got on the floor that's going to play defense? KD?
Nobody. They don't have, most teams got a guy that they be like, hey, go guard the best perimeter guy. They don't have that guy.
KD's the only thing closest to that.
Yeah. But he can't really go out there and guard 2s and 3s or 1s and 2s. You ain't about to put KD on Dame or CJ or Bradley Beal or some of these other guards who can go get buckets because you saw Colin Sexton size KD up in the second overtime of that game. It was like, oh, Colin Sexton scored a point on all 5 dudes that was in the game.
Yeah, he did.
He said, oh, you can get a turn. Come here. Bucket.
He's in the back.
Oh, you want some? Bucket. And so without them having a defensive guy, they're going to have to score the way they score. I mean, like, just think about it. Last night, they went to the wire with Miami, who was missing Bradley, Butler, and Hero. Went to the wire. Ended up just kind of pulling away late.
Yeah, because I was telling my boy this. You got 3 scores. I always say when you got 3 scores, somebody's going to get left out. It's just what it is. James Harden is looking like the guy who's going to get left out. It's just what it is. He's going to be the guy, the facilitator for them, because Kyrie is a facilitator, but he's a scorer first. KD can facilitate, but he's a scorer first. And James is the only guy who can be a facilitator first and then score second, but it's going to hurt his rhythm because he's not going to be having the ball in his hand as much as he used to. So now when you shoot, your touches is going to be limited, and then you're going to have to be in your back early, because if you're not, then it's gonna be like, well, I gotta give it to KD or Kyrie. Like, they gotta get their touches too. So it's gonna be hard for them to figure out how all 3 of them are gonna do. You know what I mean? They're gonna have those games where all of them are going off, right? But here's the thing: they have nobody on that floor that can play defense like that. James Harden ain't good on perimeter defense, but he can play some post defense. Kyrie can play
team defense. Kyrie can play team defense.
Team defense. Joe Harris, get him out of here. Jeff Green? Jeff Green is all right. He ain't a defender like that, but he all right. He can.
They talking about that young kid Brown is their defensive guy.
Okay, well, I can't tell because everybody always getting at least 100 on them. So I don't know what kind of defense they playing, but it is what it is. I don't know. Look, right now, Philly is a team to beat.
Yeah,
just being 100. Philly right now, if they stay healthy, even with Simmons not shooting, still Philly is the team to beat right now in the East because they got a guy named Joel Embiid who's got it going right now. And if he stays in that bag and he versatile his game, go inside out, and those other shooters help him, oh man,
listen,
there's gonna be a problem.
LeBron is having a good year, KD's having a good year, but I think Joel Embiid's impact right now.
Right.
He's right now my MVP. Just because, like you said, he just dominates the game. You could even see it. Philly lost last night to Detroit. When you out here losing to Detroit, because who didn't play? Embiid.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, man, we got a big game. Lakers, Sixers tomorrow. That's a huge game.
Undefeated road trip.
Man.
A good home team.
Man, so that's a game I'm looking forward to watching tomorrow just because both teams got a lot to prove. You feel me, on this stage and playing in big games against one another. So looking forward to that. But, you know, I'm glad we're in agreement that Philly is the cream of the crop right now over there in the East.
Yeah.
And the Lakers and Clippers to me are tied for the cream of the crop over there in the West.
Yeah.
I don't want to be real dismissive of the Clippers, but they're playing some real good basketball, man. When you look at the way Paul George is playing, the way Kawhi is playing, Ty Lue got them boys playing. So
they've been doing this though. They had the number 2 team last year.
Yeah, but it's just I feel like they're able. Last year, remember, they never really all got a chance to play alongside one another until later on this season. So I think this year, with them being able to build that chemistry from the gate, from game one, is kind of helping them out. And like I said, people don't talk about it, but I feel like Chauncey Billups is huge over there just because of who he was to the game of basketball and just what he brings. And I think he's able to tap in with those young men and really continue to help develop their game and their mindset. And that's a real egoless team. If you really look at it, a part of their problem is that, like, nobody has an ego. So because nobody has an ego, there is no real leadership, because that was one of the things that we talked about. There is no, because Pat Bev is a leader, but you look at Pat Bev like the little dog in the house. Like, shut up. The big dogs ain't out here barking and crying. You know, ain't nobody listening to you. And so, you feel me? I think that's what's important. But major respect to the Clippers, though, man. I don't like to say that a lot, but Major respect.
I mean, they're doing good. I got to see it in the playoffs. They're doing it in the playoffs, then I can believe it. But right now, we know the Clippers are a good regular season team. They're a great.
Quick question before we get out of here. How much do you really believe in Utah?
I like Utah. I just don't think they have enough to beat the Clippers. Or I think they match up better with the Clippers than they do with the Lakers. That's just my opinion. I think Donovan Mitchell is a stud. I think that they can give a Clippers a run for their money, but overall, the Clippers should win. They should win. I'm going to go out there and say they should win. We said they were supposed to win against Denver, and it was up 3-1, and then we know what happened. Everybody knows the collapse of the collapses, okay? They're part of history. I think that the Clippers and the Jazz can go neck and neck. I think when it comes to the Lakers, they just don't have nobody who's really going to guard LeBron James. And then AD, he's just AD. Gorbert, I can't even say the damn name.
Rudy Gobert?
Gobert. The Gobert Schobert. I think he's solid defensively, but when AD start getting in his bag where he keep taking you off the dribble, that ain't Rudy's game. That's not Rudy's game. He's gonna be
a rim protector.
Yeah,
you get him out. It's just like taking somebody out there to them deep waters,
right? And
saying, "Hey, yeah, it was fun swimming in 3 feet,
right?
Come on out here to 12, 11. See how you do way up out here." And that's what AD does, and that's what hurts them against the Lakers because they try to put Gobert on AD, but then it's like you said, who's going to guard LeBron? And once Gobert is not the paint, it's a field day for LeBron.
It's a field day. That's why I think they match up well with the Clippers because, Ibaka, I mean, he can shoot some threes here and there, but
he's not coming off the dribble.
That's an easier cover or whatever, and they can have somebody, switch over this so they can still protect the paint. But I think if the Jazz end up playing the Clippers in the playoffs, I think that'll be a good series to watch. I think the Clippers should win. But we know, I don't want to say it. I don't want playoff Pete to do it, but I hope he can just break the curse this year and get to the Western Finals for the first time ever. And we can see the Western Finals that we've been wanting to see since last year. And then we won't see no excuses. Oh, LeBron couldn't beat the Clippers. And if LeBron beat the Clippers, then what they going to say? And then if he beat the Brooklyn Nets, then what they going to, it's one of those things like, how much is enough? How many times do I got to prove you wrong for you to say, all right, just give the man his flowers? I think even if he beat the Clippers, if he beat the Nets, they're going to find something to say, well, the Nets didn't play defense, so they wasn't that good. And the Clippers wasn't really that good. Playoff Pete had his numbers again. They played horrible against the Lakers. They couldn't. We're going to always find an excuse instead of just saying, look, they're a great team. They're a great team, and they haven't even figured it all out yet. They haven't even got that whole team chemistry because they're a brand new team, still playing better than they probably should be with putting those new pieces together, and they're still number one in the West. I got to give them respect. But anyway, man, it's an amazing day in regards to remembering and the memories of a legend. He's a legend to the game. He's iconic to the game. And it's sad that he had to go so soon. And that's one of those things that I want to bring it back to is don't take your life for granted, man. You never know when your time is going to come. God forbid it comes anytime sooner. It comes later, sooner. It comes, you know what I'm trying to say. But, take every day like it's your last moment, man, because you never know. Something can happen tomorrow, God forbid. And we always take things for granted. We take life for granted. We take relationships, family members for granted. So definitely, if you got the time, call your loved ones, tell them you love them. And don't just do it today. Do it on a regular basis, man, because like I said, God has his own clock. When he tells you it's time to come home, time to come home, man. But shout out to everybody who did their little shows today to recognize and remember Kobe Bryant and those who lost their lives last year, man. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, bro?
Yeah, man. Just like I said, man, Kobe forever be my guy. And one thing that I think Kobe will currently not appreciate, right? And this is one of the things that it's just the softness of this NBA and being able to take criticism. I'm not really feeling the NBA players and I'm not really feeling NBA players when they're being critiqued by former NBA players. Like when it's the regular media, guys who didn't grind like that or didn't go through all them wars, kind of like us. I mean, we're going to have our opinions, but we're not out here just bashing. But we know media members get out there and be way off base. Right. But when your peers, the Barkleys, the Shaqs, T-Max, certain peers that are critiquing certain things about your game, I don't think you should take it personally. I think you should really look at it and analyze it and just be what it is. Because Shaq talked about the Jazz last week, and Donovan Mitchell looked like he kind of got in his feelings. And it's like, you do a lot of scoring, but how do you affect the game in other ways? And then Shaq talked about Gobert. Like, all you do is catch lobs and play defense. That ain't sexy. And you consider the top big man in the game. And it's just, players just getting their feelings when these NBA guys, and that wasn't like, and when you bring it all the way back to Kobe was a show me state guy. Also, you got something to say. Okay, well, here go 50, 10 boards and 9 assists. So go on about your way. That's the kind of stuff he'd do. And that's LeBron too. LeBron, he's gotten better at being able to handle that criticism and then just go show it. So I just want these young dudes to, like, if you're going to want to really say Kobe was your idol and you looked up to Kobe and Kobe was this to you, really learn to embody that Mamba mentality. Really learn to embody that. Don't just be out here saying it and talking about it, because it becomes disrespectful to me as a real Kobe fan when I see people talking to Mamba mentality and they going against the grain. And it's like nah, brother. So that's just, my last little thing when it comes to Kobe.
No, I feel like maybe we can talk about that next week. Is the NBA getting soft? And we can go in and talk about it. People in their fields. And that goes to show where we're at as a society with social media and all the crazy things. But anyway, man, hey, y'all stay blessed. Y'all take care of yourselves. Always remember to talk that talk. We see y'all soon. Peace.